For a lot of people, whether it's novices or experts, there's a lot of stress and thought that goes into your strategy for the meet day. And this happens before the meet comes. So you need to have a plan on how you select your openers, how do you plan on selecting your second attempts, and how you plan on selecting your third attempts. So for openers, this is a very broad rule of thumb, but a good rule of thumb that your opener should be about 90% of your projected max. This should also be a number that you can hit for a triple in training, even on a bad day. Usually that will work out to about 90% of your max. You want to make sure that your opener is very light because you don't want to get shook up on meet day, missing your opener to shake your confidence. So it should be something that you can be hit on a bad day for a triple around 90% of your max. Remember, the meet is not won by what you start with, the meet is won with what you end with. Make sure when you're evaluating this opener, whether you're using a triple in training or 90% of your max, that it's clean and to competition standards. I've been guilty of this when I was a younger lifter. Don't do a triple on your squat in training where you're 2 or 3 inches high and you say that's an easy triple. You go to a meet and now you need those 2 or 3 extra inches, and all of a sudden that opener is a lot heavier than it should be. And you don't need to find this opener by doing a max triple in the gym. You could do 1 rep where you say you had 2 reps in the tank, or you could do a double where you say you had 1 rep in the tank. It does not mean you need to max on a triple in the gym to find that. Also remember, while you're in the warm-up room getting ready for your opener, I've seen this plenty of times before, no powerlifting meet in the history of any competition has ever been won in the warm-up room. I'll see guys all the time go off schedule, off plan of their planned warm-ups because they see their competitor in there and they want to get in their head and maybe throw up a little bench more than they should, do a few more reps or a little more weight than they had planned on. Have a planned warm-up and stick to it. Don't change it because of what you see in the warm-up room. If you need to change it because of how you feel, that's a different thing than seeing your competitor do something and you try to get in his head. Final closing remarks about the opener. Remember, a meet is not won on how it starts. A meet is won on how it ends. So open light, open conservative, get on the board, and then hit some bigger lifts. Strategy for second attempts. Generally, second attempts should be pretty concrete on what you're gonna do before you enter the meet. So unless something crazy happens on your opener or your warm-ups feel way off, usually you're not gonna see a big change in your second attempt number because of what's going on during the meet day. Only if you're feeling good or bad would that second attempt really change. And again, a second attempt should be lighter than you probably think it should. A very broad rule of thumb would be that an opener is something you could do for a double in the gym. And again, that doesn't mean finding it by doing a max double. You may do a single and know you have 1 rep left in the tank. Some of the strategy can come into play on a second attempt. And if you're battling head to head with someone in a competition, seeing what that competitor does on their opener, whether they open heavy and barely get it, or if they completely miss their opener on strength, that may lead you to be more conservative or more aggressive on your second attempt. And going into meet day, there should be a range that you're comfortable with for calling a second attempt. You might have a low and a high and shooting for somewhere there in the middle if everything's going according to plan. Generally, rule of thumb, this number is probably going to be around 93 to 97% of your projected max. Strategy for the third attempt is much different than the first or the second, and that strategy is going to be highly dependent on the individual. You can be more aggressive with the third attempt, and how you decide to approach that third attempt, again, is highly dependent on the individual and what your particular goals are for the day. So if your goals are to hit a PR and you don't care what anyone else is doing, maybe that's how you select your third attempt. If you're battling head to head with a few people, maybe you're more concerned about beating them instead of hitting a PR, and that might cause you to dial that third attempt back a little bit to make sure you get that victory, but not necessarily a PR. The third attempt is also a great time to take chances and have fun. If you've already hit a PR on your second attempt, or there's no one close to you in the competition, or maybe you're just in a class by yourself, that's a great time to load up the bar, go for a big PR, and have fun and just see what you're capable of on that day. As a rule of thumb, a third attempt, if things are feeling good, is going to be above 99%. A rule of thumb, if things are feeling good on meet day, that third attempt is going to be at 99% or above of your estimated projected max based on your training numbers.